Here in Atlanta, criminal defense attorney Pate and HLN contributor Jason Johnson. Maybe so. Paige, let me ask you this. Something that I thought the prosecution should have hammered home more. Detective Serino, for all that he said that was, quote, good about George Zimmerman, he wanted to charge George Zimmerman with manslaughter, and that, to me, was lost somehow yesterday.
Well, it was completely lost, but it's not common for a lawyer to be able to ask a detective or a cop or a law enforcement officer his opinion of the case. In other words, what did you think this individual should have been charged with? That's usually a question that they're not going to be able to ask. What is important, though, is to get out from the officer the things he did in response to Zimmerman's interview. He continued to investigate the case. He challenged him on a few points to show that even this officer, who seemed to be favorable to the defense, is not 100% behind George Zimmerman.
So that's just a short synopsis of how it all supposedly went down, at least according to George Zimmerman. Now, you can see Mark O'Mara, he's getting ready, and he's going to continue questioning this detective, Paige, right?
Right, I would expect
so. He's probably going to keep hammering home that George Zimmerman was truthful, he was cooperative with police, he granted every interview that was requested, etc., etc.
Absolutely, and you usually are not supposed to do this. You can't ask one witness to comment on the credibility of another witness. But once you've done that as a defense lawyer, the prosecution, what are they going to do? Object to you asking the law enforcement officer whether he thinks Zimmerman was truthful or not? It's a difficult position to be in as a prosecutor because you expect your cops to be on your team, and that's not what's been happening so far.
In every episode of Law and Order, the cops usually are on the side of the prosecutor,
and
right?
In reality, that's what happens. And because cops are testifying to a jury and they are considered to be so credible, these are not normal witnesses. These are super witnesses. The jury is going to pay attention to these folks. They like to believe cops. They trust cops. So whoever the cops believe, whichever story they seem to support, that's going to be incredibly effective.
Okay, so George Zimmerman said that Trayvon Martin continued to talk after he was being shot. Paige, in your experience, is that possible for someone who's been shot through the heart and into the lung?
Not in that location. It's certainly possible for someone to say something, get out a word or two, a moan, a cry, but not to state a full sentence like that, especially given the location of the wound. I think that's very surprising.
All right, let's dip back into the courtroom and just listen to some of the lawyers. And Mark O'Mara, Zimmerman's lead defense attorney, certainly is not giving up. He's now questioning Detective Serino, and I'll address this question to you, Paige. He said, hey, it's not illegal to follow someone. He got the detective to admit that. It's not illegal to follow someone. It's not illegal to confront someone. It's just not. He also brought up the fact there was a series of robberies in that neighborhood, and a thin young black man was arrested for committing one of those robberies, and he's now been sentenced to 5 years in jail.
Right. I think it's clear that the defense is going to concede that George Zimmerman was following Trayvon Martin, but so what? I see that the defense lawyer here is bringing the jury into the picture and saying, look, don't you want your neighborhood watch guy to follow someone like this, someone who he doesn't know why he's there, he doesn't know what he may be doing. So I think it's good strategy, I think it's good lawyering. Go ahead and concede the fact he's following him, but that's not necessarily bad, and it's not unlawful, and that's what he's pointing out here.
Okay, we have to take a break.